Welcome all the participants, distinguished speakers, and all the committee members. You are requested to keep your presence here. We will start it within 2 minutes. Okay. Now, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome.
Good afternoon, sir.
Welcome our resource person. Today, resource person of the session, Professor Qazi Mazhar Ali Saab from Statistics Department, AMU, and our chairperson, Dr. Neetu Agarwal from Department of Physics, Allahabad University, Prayagraj, and the custodian chairperson of this training program, head of the Department of Physics, Government PG College, Badaun, Dr. Shraddha Gupta ji. I would like to request you, Dr. Gupta, please chair the session and organize it.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome all of you once again to the day 7th of the 8 days NEP Orientation and Sensitization program organized by Government Degree College Badaun in collaboration with UGC-MMTTC Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. As we near the conclusion of this insightful journey, each session has brought us closer to understanding of the transformative vision of NEP and its far-reaching impact on our education system. The past 6 days have been filled with thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and collaborative learning. Today is yet another opportunity to deepen our knowledge, engage in meaningful conversation, and explore innovative approaches to implementing the NEP effectively. We are honored to have esteemed speakers with us who will guide us through today's session, sharing their expertise and perspective on key aspects of education and policy implementation. As we embark on today's discussion, I encourage everyone to participate actively, ask questions, and share insight that can reach our collective learning experience. Let us make day 7 as engaging and impact as the previous days. Once again, I warm welcome to all participants, speakers, and organizers. Wishing you a productive and enlightening session ahead. For that, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Rakesh Kumar Jaiswal, our today's organizing co-coordinator and head department of political science, Government Degree College Badaun, to welcome our today's chairperson as well as the resource person. Dr. Rakesh Kumar Jaiswal, sir, please join us to continue the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to the 7th day of Malaviya Mission Teachers Training Program. To chair the session today, we have with us Dr. Neetu Agarwal, is an assistant professor in the Department of Physics at the Allahabad University, Prayagraj. She earned MSc and PhD from IIT Delhi, specializing in theoretical condensed matter physics. Her research focuses on Dirac materials, electron, optics, graphene, and topological insulators. She has contributed significantly to quantum materials research publishing extensively in reputed journals. The resource person for the first session today is Professor Qazi Mazhar Ali. He is a retired professor of Department of Statistics at AMU Aligarh. The resource person for the second session today is the Dr. Kiran Chaudhary, the Department of Commerce, Shivaji College, University of Delhi. Without much delay, I would like to invite Dr. Neetu Agarwal as a chairperson today's session. Welcome, Dr. Neetu Agarwal ji. स्वागत है आपका, Dr. Neetu Agarwal ji.
Dr. Neetu Agarwal, ma'am.
Okay, am I mute? Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for giving this opportunity for this great interaction session. And today we are truly privileged to have with us distinguished academic and expert in the field, Professor Qazi Mazhar Ali. We welcome you, sir. Professor Ali is currently retired from his position as professor in Department of Statistics and Operation Research at Aligarh Muslim University, where he made significant contributions over the years. With a wealth of experience and expertise in statistics, operation research, and remote sensing, Professor Ali has made substantial contributions to the academic and research community. He completed his PhD at the University of Oxford, UK in 1993, where his thesis on statistical classification techniques in the analysis of remotely sensed images laid the foundation for his continued work in the field. He holds an MSc in Statistics and BSc Honours in Statistics, both from Aligarh Muslim University, where he graduated in first merit. Additionally, Professor Ali holds a PG diploma in computer science, further enhancing his interdisciplinary approach to research and teaching. He has not only excelled in research, but also demonstrated a passion for teaching and mentoring. He has taught courses in statistics and operation research at both undergraduate and postgraduate levels and supervised numerous PhD, MPhil, and MSc theses. Professor Ali's research interests span over a large domain, including statistical classification techniques, remote sensing, optimization, fuzzy multi-objective transportation problems, and many other. His academic journey is marked by numerous awards, including the prestigious Commonwealth Scholarship and his doctoral studies at the University of Oxford, and university medals for academic excellence at AMU as well. He has also contributed significantly to the academic community through his publications in various journals, with notable works on fuzzy multi-objective transportation problems and performance analysis of non-parametric classifiers. In addition to his academic and administrative achievements, Professor Ali's international recognition is worth mentioning, particularly his pioneering work in image analysis techniques for art styles, which was featured in the Daily Telegraph UK. With such a rich background in research and teaching, Professor Ali is also a member of esteemed professional organizations, including Royal Statistical Society and Institute of Mathematical Statistics as well. So please join me in welcoming Professor Qazi Mazhar Ali to the stage, to this platform as the speaker of the session. We are privileged to have you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Neetu, for your kind words. And thank you for the chairperson and all the organizers for providing me this appointing of academicians throughout the country. I hope that we'll be able to contribute something to this evening. The basic topic is national education policy. Interestingly, I had an opportunity because I was the Dean of the Faculty of Science when this NEP came in 2021. And I had the opportunity to share dais with the Cabinet Minister, Dr. Pokhriyal, and our Vice Chancellor, and one professor from education. We were there on an online program where we three delivered the speeches. So I was constantly connected with this implementation of aspect of this NEP. In the Aligarh University was the first university which started NEP in educational programs. So having the practical experience, what I chose for this evening, the topic, the excellence in research. And because the basic idea of the basic theme of which I understood of NEP is to make India the hub of international hub of education. Nowadays, we see this, that our children and persons from different countries, they are going to America and they are going to Europe and there. But the vision is that can we make India a hub of education? That the people should come to India? That the basic theme is this, that how can we get excellence in our academia so that we should become an attractive, I can say, center of attraction for all the seekers of knowledge in the world, so that we can make it hub. Now it is not a fairy tale. You can see that the Indians, they are flourishing. They are doing very nice. They are getting very nice performance in America and European countries, here and there in the Gulf. And you'll find that it is the human resource of India which is actually leading ahead. I mean, you know already that there are so many CEOs, those who are from India, of various organizations. I remember one CSIR secretary was there, and he said this one thing. I like that earlier we used to have rich persons, those who had lands, animals. This was the style. Then the industrial revolution came, and we had the rich person who was having the industry, and then it came the oil. But now this is the time. The rich person is not that who is having oil. He's not that person who is having huge land. The person who has the ideas, the Microsoft, or you can say the software. I mean, software is an idea, and so it is the human. You can say human development skill. That matters most. So to become a nation rich, if our human resource is rich in terms of quality, then we are rich. So we don't need that materialistic tools which were required before. Now, if you concentrate on our students and our teachers, and we make our education policy excellent, our education excellent, then our educational institutions will become a source of attractions for others. And we will be producing excellent graduates, those who will be marketable throughout the world. So basic theme is this. And you see, the ideals are not achieved in a day or two. The policies are framed for a long-term objectives. So these objectives today might be looking very, can say, distant dream. But in fact, when we started the journey, we'll reach it. With this goal, I hope that we will get it done. So, okay, keeping this thing in mind, the topic which I chose for this evening is excellence in research. And let me give you the detail. Okay, can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
the idea is that how the research takes place. I mean, at one point of time, either as a PhD student or as a supervisor, or we are working on research paper, we have to do the research as being the university teacher. And today's research, most of the research, they lead to one kind or the other quantitative exercise. I mean, if we are making a statement, and that statement can be accepted by people if we have quantitative support to that. Very simple, crude example is that if somebody comes and he says that I'm feeling uneasy. I think I have fever, and his friend, he just touched his hand and he say, yeah. Other friends say, no, you are not. You don't have. But if you just take a thermometer and you just measure the temperature and you say that you have 102 degree Fahrenheit temperature, that stop the debate of these qualitative statements that you have fever, you have high fever, you have low fever, you don't have fever. When all these debate will go. Simply one quantitative support to the statement that I am feeling uneasy, I am feeling feverish. Similar is the case of all the research that we research actually is an idea, an academic idea. That academic idea is to be proved or something to be rejected. So this exercise, when somebody says in words, it is not that powerful. But when we give a quantitative support to our claim, our saying, then it is accepted. So what I have decided that how the research turns into a quantitative exercise at point, and what are the some confusions that I want to clear, because in one and a half hour you cannot do much. But I'll try to touch upon just 2 or 3 topics which will help. So basically, I'm going to touch these 3: the qualitative aspect, use of AI, and quantitative aspects. Qualitative aspects of the research. The first thing is research ethics. Every subject has its own ethics. For example, biological sciences, they have some ethics regarding the use of animals in research. In chemical laboratories, they have some ethics regarding use of chemicals, and so on and so on and so on. But one common ethic is of plagiarism. Plagiarism has been made a crime, and there are many cases of plagiarism reported in different universities. And now the practice is that the people, before publishing, we have to get it checked. The plagiarism should be checked. So why we should not do in the very beginning that we should take into account from the day one that our research work, our writing should be original, and if we are taking help from some established work, we should give due reference to that. Without referring and without quoting, giving the detail of the quotation, that becomes a plagiarism. Claiming someone's idea your own, that makes it plagiarism. So we should avoid that. That's one thing. And for this purpose, there are many software packages are available installed in the universities to check plagiarism before getting published. And the research journals also rejecting the papers on the basis of plagiarism. So that is the one thing that we should not be careless. I mean, sometimes a supervisor having confidence in his or her student, and a student is bringing a write-up, and he feels that this boy would have done the nice work. But at the end of the day, it is realized it is plagiarism, and the responsibility lies on the shoulder of the supervisor. So that kind of situation happens, and this innocent supervisor get caught in this in this process. So the best way is to avoid this incident, and we should train our students also that they should be careful about plagiarism from the very first day. So they should be having the training that they should be writing the things in their own language. I will touch this use of AI. I cannot give the detail of AI, but some aspect of AI I'll just discuss here, and I will give in detail some quantitative aspects. So, continuing with that qualitative aspect, research ethics, as I just told you, and in the case of literature, every research has the first step is to have to access and to read extensively the books. Now, today's practice, what is happening because of the availability of information on in this web world, people are avoiding reading the books. This is a very dangerous thing for research, because what is the knowledge? Knowledge is there in the book. When we read the book, after reading the book, what is retained in our mind, that is the knowledge of us. But what actually happens that we read selective reading. We are reading selectively. That if somebody is interested in knowing one, say for example, somebody wants to know what is inflation, he will simply go to word inflation and will read that definition, and then that is okay. Then he will say that I have the knowledge of this. No. The researcher should not read like this. I remember we had a very well-known academician from our university. He was at one point of time Vice Chancellor and Ambassador of India. He had many positions. He was a very established professor of history. So I learned this thing from him, that read the books from cover to cover. Cover to cover means that when we are reading a standard, first thing is we should select the standard books. The quality of the book for research should be good quality research books. And once we start reading, the first thing one should read is the preface, because the preface connects the person, the reader, to the book. Why the author has written the book? What literature was available in the world, in the academic world? What additional contribution this book is going to do, and how the book is arranged. It may happen that there might be some chapters which are prerequisite for the other chapters, or it might happen that some chapters of this which are not to be read by you. So it can give you a plan of the book, so one can understand the book, how it is, why it is written, how it is arranged, and for whom it is written. So these three questions, when it is answered in the mind of the reader, then the reading becomes more beneficial. Otherwise, simply going to the index and searching for a particular word and getting its definition, that will not be a reading of researcher. So reading of the researcher should be from the beginning and from the preface, and we should, and at the same time, we should be having our computer ready for that. We should be making our own notes from that book with proper references. So if we train our students with this style, then they will be creating a database of knowledge and references simultaneously for every day. And then they will not need to have plagiarism, because they would be writing every day some piece of knowledge in their own language. And for academic writing, we should also train our students for the style of academic writing is different, and writing for an exam in MSc is different. Academic writing, we should be careful that academic writing is not an MSc answer. So we have to train our students for academic writing, that how they should write a paper. And the one basic thing that what the knowledge actually, knowledge actually is a chain. We link knowing to unknowing. For example, there is a child is there. The child knows apple. He knows the apple, that this is the apple fruit. We say that, Baba, this apple is from A for apple. So his recognition, his knowledge about the fruit, the shape called apple, has given us clue to train, to give him knowledge of the letter A. And this shape which you recognize is called apple, you know. Now this apple is written with A. So this shape is called A, the letter A. A for apple, B for boy. So now we are linking knowing with the unknowing. So what the child knows, we are linking to which he was not knowing. We train on the letters of an alphabet, and in the next session we teach that, okay, C-A-T, cat. So now we are linking this knowledge. So in the same way, at research level also, what actually happens that when we are reading at for research, we realize that there are pitfalls. There are holes in our knowledge. There are discontinuities in our knowledge. We may come across that we are not knowing something. So we should fill that gap. We should not allow us to move forward unless we know that gap in the knowledge. Because I told you that knowledge is chain, continuous chain. The discontinuities should be filled. So the reading, if it is reading, is continuous. That the topic we are knowing from the very base to up to the advanced level. There should not be any discontinuities. If you notice this thing in the Western world and in the researchers there, they would not be knowing many things. But the topic of their research, if you talk, they will be knowing everything of that topic. So this is a focused reading. Focused reading should be there, and there should not be discontinuities. I have seen in selection committees in the universities, in many universities, that even when you ask the candidate about her own thesis, which he or she has got PhD on that, they don't know the full detail about that. Why? Because they have not read properly. They have not written properly. So reading and writing, these are basic skills of researchers, should be very strong. Reading without discontinuities and writing in his original words. And the second thing about writing is that writing should also be continuous. Continuous in the sense that the general framework is that we are introducing a topic. Excuse me. We are introducing a topic. So a kind of introduction is there silently. And then we are going to say something more. So we should say in that paragraph that in the next paragraph, we are going to give more detail about this. And the next paragraph that we are going to say more this about this. So in this way, it should be continuous reading from top to bottom. And if it is continuous reading, then the reader will have an interest in that writing. Otherwise, it will be discrete pieces of knowledge without connections are not read properly, are not understood properly. So reading and writing, the basis of all this is that reading reading correctly the literature and daily practice of writing. So I remember in Oxford, our supervisors, whenever I had the meeting, they always said, go and write the notes of it. So it was the daily practice that you should write what you have discussed so far. Anyway. Okay, let us talk about something about this AI. Artificial intelligence is coming, has arrived. It's not waiting for us. But what actually happened in the last 2-3 years, when the artificial intelligence started coming in the market, many educational boards of America, they decided that we should not allow AI in our schools. So they put a kind of ban on it. But in few months, they realized that this policy cannot work. So they had to open it up. And artificial intelligence, the ChatGPT developers, they gave it to understand how it will be received before releasing it to the public. They gave it to well-known Khan Academy for their review, and they worked on this for many months, that how it can be used in education. So now, when I read about the person who was doing all this exercise, he wrote a book. I was reading that book. I realized that there are 3 approaches facing AI. One approach is that very nice tool has come. Let me give all my work to American boards failed in this approach. So this is not a way forward, because any new tool of scientific advancement which is coming is going to help the humanity. The third, the right approach is that you should learn. For educator, I'm saying from the point of view as a teacher, as a researcher. So, as a teacher, as a researcher, how should I use AI? I should use it as a tool. I should learn along with AI, neither leaving everything to AI nor leaving AI at all, but going along with AI. This is the middle approach. We should be using it as a tool. But how much this tool is useful and how much this tool is can be dependent, I have, because this group which you have, they have participants from different subjects, so we cannot focus on one subject. So I'm giving a general idea. So I did a very simple exercise. I was there I was coming back from USA, and I stayed for three days in Dubai. So I just gave this one sentence, these 3 sentences to ChatGPT. I went to Dubai and visited the Burj Khalifa. I also went to my aunt's house. We did some shopping. These 3 sentences I gave to ChatGPT and requested it to write a story for me from these 3 sentences. See what it did. Oh, sorry. Let me show it to you here. It gave me this piece. Now you can see there are 4 paragraphs coming out from 3 sentences. 3 sentences was the input, and the output is these 4 paragraphs. And you can notice that there is some black color, red color, green color. Black color is what I gave to it. This green, which I got colored as green. This green, which I got colored as green. Standing at the observation deck, Standing at the observation deck, I gazed out a sprawling cityscape and the desert. This all added by ChatGPT. So now you can see that it is adding on its own these things. It looks very, very nice. I mean, you just read as a story, it looks very presentable. But the thing is, really, I need this or not? This will depend upon the user. And how much I can rely upon this again I have to check, because there might be something which is there in the database of ChatGPT, which I am not convinced with it, or which is not the topic of my story. I don't want that. So I should be very careful about it. So simply giving a task to ChatGPT and relax will not serve the purpose. We have to work along with it. We should be careful that should I rely upon it, or should I correct it and delete some of it and retain some of it. So anyway, this is a very crude example. You can do in your subject many advanced level exercises with ChatGPT, and you can realize that it will be adding certain things which are not needed there. So be careful. So my slogan is use artificial intelligence with intelligence. If you are using artificial intelligence without intelligence, you may be in trouble. So use artificial intelligence with intelligence, right? So there are, it itself is an independent topic of discussion. So I just stop here. I go further to the third point, that is the quantitative aspect. Quantitative aspect of research is that ultimately a research project converts into a data analysis exercise. How it happens? For example, if you are doing, so I hope there might be some person from education or some agriculture, I mean, from different different subjects out there. Suppose there is a researcher from education department, and he or she wants to study a teaching methodology, a new teaching methodology introduced by some school. And they want to see the performance of that teaching methodology. So the person who has developed it, he or she will say that it is better than the existing one. And this is not only the educational policy, the teaching method. It may happen for a new drug which is introduced by a pharmaceutical industry, that you say that our drug is more effective in curing this disease. Some agriculture researcher might be there. He'll say that, okay, this irrigation system or this seed or this fertilizer is more effective in giving more yield for this in this agriculture. There might be, I mean, this kind of topics that are common. So in fisheries, I remember that some people came from fisheries to me for data analysis, and their aim was that they are giving some food to fish, and they are observing the increase in the weight of fish from commercial point of view. So their topic was that this particular food is giving more increase in weight. So this kind of research topics are there generally. So when this is a statement that this is better, this A is better than B. It can be education method, it can be a seed, it can be a fertilizer, it can be a drug, it can be many thousands of things from different fields. So it is a statement of the researcher, and this statement is in the terminology of that area, research area. To support this, he or she has to give an evidence, a quantitative evidence, whether this statement is true or not. And that quantitative statement would be judged on some individuals, and that individuals would be will constitute the population of that research. Say, for example, in case of education method, the students of a school. In case of fisheries, the fish will constitute the population. In case of just agriculture example, the plants, the fields will be the population. So likewise, we'll have for different populations from different research areas, we will be having different statements. We are making a statement about the population, some characteristic of the population. And that characteristic of the population is converted in our terminology of data analysis. Basically, it is statistics. So ultimately, in all the researches, almost all the researchers end up at one point of time to do the statistical analysis of the data collected for that research. And that which data should be collected, how it should be collected, how should it be analyzed, and how it should be presented, how the conclusion should be drawn from it, and it should be presented. This whole exercise is called statistics, and it originates from this thesis, this topic of research, that this method A is better than method B. This is the method, the topic of the research. Now, from this, we'll define the population. From this, we'll define the characteristic, which the variable in the study. From this, we'll decide that how we'll select the individuals from this population. So all this is originating from this one statement about the population of the research. So the research population is defined, research hypothesis is defined by the topic of research. So the topic of research is the base of the entire building which we have of the research, which is at the end will be doing the data analysis, and the result of analysis will be presented back into the terminology of the research area. So it will be converted, the data analysis result will be converted into terminology of education. If it is an education research problem, it will be converted into agriculture terminology. It is agriculture. Ultimately, we are doing one kind of statistical analysis. So I just briefly touch this topic. You know that statistics is a mathematical science which concerns with data collection, as I just gave you the example, that as collection, presentation, analysis, and interpretation. So this whole exercise is called statistics. So we will have to do a systematic collection of data, and we will have to do the measurement or observations, and this would be done in the form of population counts, income, and so many things can be studied. It is also a branch of applied mathematics. So the main thing for a researcher is the interpretation, analysis, collection and analysis, and interpretation of that quantitative data. That's the main thing. So in this data, we'll be doing some kind of estimate of the population parameters. As we said, the average marks of the students after using this particular method, or after the average weight of fish after taking this food of that researcher, or likewise the harvest from the field after using this particular fertilizer or this particular seed or this particular irrigation facility, like this. So we will be estimating one parameter of the population, like average. But for a researcher, there is another definition which is generally not read, and that is statistics an art and science of collection, compilation, etc. So this word art, this is the main thing which we should discuss here. Science is given in the book. Art is learned with an artist. So if somebody wants to learn swimming, somebody wants to learn painting, they will have to sit with the good artist, with good painter. And because the painter has a canvas, a palette of colors, and a set of brushes. But the choice of the colors, the choice of brush, the style, all these will constitute a good painting. Similar is the mean, median, mode. These are three averages. Which particular average I should use in this particular data analysis? There are many measures of dispersion, variance, covariance, and standard deviation, and coefficient of variation. So many things. Which one I should use? So it is a toolbox. So it is an art to use the right tool and to interpret. These are an interpretation and the choice of the right tool. These two are the art. So the best way forward is that we should consult, either should know that much statistics, or we should consult a statistician in the beginning of the research project. Generally, what happens in the last decades-long experience of mine, researchers comes at the end of the research and they come with their data and they say that we have the data, kindly do the analysis. While the real thing is that they would have discussed this thing in the very beginning of the research. That what data I should collect, how should I collect, and which tool I should use. That they would have to discuss in the very beginning. Anyway, and the things have become more difficult after the availability of statistical software packages to everyone. Now the people are using without understanding the assumptions and of a statistical formula. Then underlying assumptions are not fulfilled, and still the data is being fed to that formula, and they are getting conclusions which are not the real justified conclusions. But people are doing so. It is a warning that we should know the research tool which we are using, the statistical tool which we are using, does our data, when our data is fulfilling all the assumptions required by that particular statistical tool or not. For example, if we are using a statistical test, and the underlying assumption is that the population will be normally distributed, is it true or not? But generally, a common, an average researcher will not be knowing this detail about the population. So we should be careful when this word art comes. It will be addressed at two stages: at the time of selection of a tool and at the time of interpretation of the result. Okay, I just skip this. The data collected in a particular study are referred to as the data set. So we would be using collecting the data about some facts and figures, and to analyze and to interpret. Okay, so what actually happens that we have, as I told you, that the population, and the population has some individuals. We call them elements, and we are studying some characteristic of the population, and that characteristics in our terminology is called a variable. So, for example, the height of students or weight of students. So this is a variable, and or average marks of students. Marks of a student. These are the variables, and so for a variable, we will be having some measurement of the observation, that will form the data, and the number of data values will be the product of the number of variables and the number of elements. So that constitutes the data set. And I just skip this also. Again, we should be aware of these four basic skills. I hope that everybody knows this, but it is just a reminder that we should be knowing whether our variable is on nominal scale, ordinal scale, or interval or ratio scale. These are the basic things which generally people is skill, but we should know it. I hope that you will be knowing all these things. So I just avoid this. Okay, so data either qualitative or quantitative. For qualitative data, we have least number of tools available, but for quantitative data, we have a large number of tools available for the analysis. So we should know it that whether we are dealing with quantitative data or qualitative data, and should decide the tool to be used. I just skip this as well. Okay, one more thing with this terminology, that discrete and continuous, these two words are the technical words which are read and we come across in reading statistics. But the simplest understanding can be made by using this trick, that answer of how many is discrete and the answer of how much is continuous. Cannot go into the detail of this, but this will be very interesting trick to know. Okay, this you can see that the data can either qualitative or quantitative, and a qualitative data can be numerical, non-numerical, but the quantitative data will always numerical. And the scale of measurement for numerical data is nominal or ordinal, and for non-numerical data, it is nominal or ordinal. But quantitative data is always numerical. It can be either interval scale or ratio scale. So this is the whole picture of data. I just skip this as well. Okay, for a researcher, the studies which we conduct either can be categorized as experimental study or an observational study. For example, if we are collecting the data from an agriculture field, that we are controlling some variables, some characteristics, say we are keeping the same irrigation, same fertilizer, we are simply changing the seed to see the effect of seed on the yield. So we are conducting an experiment, so it's an experimental study. But on the other hand, if suppose we are going to a village, we are counting the number of households, how many persons have hectares, how many persons have what is the land holding, how many persons own land, how many persons are the laborers only, they are not holding the lands. I mean, all these kind of observational tasks are being done. Or we either we are observing or we are collecting the data from the persons. They are asking the question in the form of questionnaire. So we are conducting a survey through a questionnaire or through a schedule. So the observational study, survey is the best example of it, and experimental study. So these two kind of studies are conducted by a researcher, which leads to data. While we are collecting the data, we should be data acquisitions, and these considerations are that time requirement. We have limited time. We should plan in such a way that we should collect the data within time, and the cost of acquisition of the data, that is also a limitation. We should be within that limit. And the third thing is the data errors. The word error is a technical term of statistics. Error is, there is a difference between error and mistake. Mistake can be rectified, but error can be minimized. Error cannot be removed at all. I mean, error will be there. So we'll have to remove, we have to minimize the errors. So for that, statistical theory is playing its role, which is transparent to the user. I mean, an ordinary user of statistics will not be dealing that theory, which is minimizing the errors. So the errors which we are committing, the errors which are from the sampling errors, and again response errors, non-response errors. There are many kind of errors which we should be knowing. A good number of these are being taken care by the statistical theory, and we are using finally a formula. I'll show you how it happens. I just skip this. Okay, let us touch this topic. When we are having a question, a research question, that research question is ultimately converted into a statement which we call hypothesis.